services, involve the public in those decisions, and prevent another parking meter deal.
Go ahead. Okay, we can hear right through the mics that we have. First of all, we've had an ordinance pending almost since the third meeting in November of dealing with a robust input from communities on privatization. It hasn't moved. I think we saw a couple of weeks ago that the mayor was going to introduce a ordinance to deal with privatization. However, my view is I think we need to take back many of the services that we've had that are privatized and put them back under the auspices of the city. A lot is happening especially at O'Hare Airport. It's becoming the privatization capital of the world. And we need to draw back what we're doing, look at what we're doing, especially at O'Hare at this point.
May I recommend also to the candidates, given the setup here, that you should feel comfortable simply throwing your answers out, looking at it, maybe a little uncomfortable for you to have to turn and look across. All right, please.
I strictly avoid privatization. I don't believe that it has a place in public government for several reasons. First of all, I believe that a city workforce is responsive and responsible to the people of the city of Chicago. They can be held accountable under a city administration. But when you privatize it, you lose that authority to directly control who gets what, when, where, and how much they pay their employees, and whether or not those employees are unionized, and whether or not those employees are treated fairly. Also, when you privatize, you're giving city service to someone who's seeking to make a profit. So there's a profit margin attached. When the city itself does the work, there is no profit. Or when a not-for-profit organization does the work, there is no profit. So that money is turned into progress and efficiency and delivery of services for the people of the city of Chicago who need the most. I believe that we ought to have a mandate that if you have a major privatization proposal, that all of the city of Chicago should be given time to review it, and it ought to automatically go to a city council committee for complete evaluation. We shouldn't have deals like that.
Go ahead on, Doc. He gonna stop that privatization. The parking lots.
One of the worst things that could ever happen to the city of Chicago. So we have to be wise when it comes to privatization. The other thing that happens is we have Shackman exempt law. And that Shackman exempt law says that there's no political power in firing. So that means that city employees don't have to do political work for the person that sponsored them and the person that got the job. The same is not true in private corporations. And oftentimes, those privatized employees are made to do work on behalf of politicians in the city of Chicago, and it avoids the Shackman defeat.
My take is a little bit different. I think that the parking meters should have been done this way. I think it should have been bidded out to the citizen of Chicago. I think that it should have been bidded out in a way that each community in the city of Chicago that represents the city of Chicago should have an opportunity to own a piece of that particular business. When you take and do things such as that way, the community begins to be an economic empowerment within the community itself. I would enter this legislation that said that anybody who does business with the city of Chicago would have to have an equal opportunity, employment-wise and contract-wise, so it would affect every neighborhood, regardless of what color you are, or things of that nature. That way you empower the community itself, and growth begin to rise. That we, the community rise, so does Chicago rise.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. We're now going to go to Professor Ashby, and I think we'll, in terms of responses, we'll start with Doc Walls.
Well, the new mayor of Chicago is going to face a financial crisis, as is our new governor. as is every new mayor across the country. And the debate seems to often focus on two alternatives. One is to cut social services for working people. And we've had a lot of pushback in the city about cuts in libraries and cuts in mental services. And it certainly seems, if we believe his promises, that Governor Rauner is going to begin by insisting on drastic cuts in services. The other alternative put forward is, well, we need to raise property taxes. We need to raise city or county taxes. We need to find more services to tax. We need to find new things to have fees on, so we don't call them taxes and we don't get blamed for tax increases, or increase the fees on services already being taxed. Some critics would say the whole red light camera issue is not about safety for our children, but about a hidden tax. A third alternative put forward by a number of the unions in the city say we have to find new areas for income. The National Nurses Union and the Chicago Teachers Union have called for fighting for graduated state income tax. We're one of a handful of states in the country whose income tax is not graduated but is flat. The National Nurses Union has called, MCTU, called for